the inn, lasting through the hordes of undead until the last wave, at which point a small, well, a younger-ish boy came in through the door, an undead boy, which turned out to be one of Cloric's siblings, um, who had been sacrificed by their father towards um, some dark ritual of sorts. And you all began, or to slightly understand that something was going on between Balar and his father in the past, and that it all played out through some kind of ritual and tradition within the family or village of humans that he came from. Apparently, something had went awry, and Balar did not go through the necessary procedures, i.e., dying. He was spared from death, even though he was struck through the heart as a child. And because of this, from what you all understand from the talks with this boy, things went downhill fast after Balar survived and then ran off into the wilds to live his life. That being said, the situation ultimately came to a climax where you all had to strike down said boy, and through some ingenuity and some straight up fucking luck, the fight went pretty well, and you all walked out mostly unscathed, fairly alive, and the only casualty being Charlie's bear. You all at the end of the night hold yourselves up in the one of the rooms in the inn until the next morning, when you heard the footsteps of heavy boots, and you found out that a squad or a battalion, small contingency of dwarves had broken through the undead lines and made it to the inn to check in on the innkeeper and her mother, ultimately finding out that everyone had died except for the daughter, the innkeeper. Taking pity on her and finding out that you all had knowledge of the situation, they asked if you would come with them to Winterguard, which you obliged. At which point you arrived at the great dwarven fortress outside of Hodheim. There you met a number of interesting folk, including Balarin Blackhelm, one of the dwarves that was in the contingent, an older dwarf of growing age with a baller ass mustache, and then the leader of this fortress, who actually said nothing. Balarin said it all, and you also came under the notice of, and you noticed a very large contingent of paladins and clerics of Goliath race that were in short stay, and Whitehelm, or Winterguard, not Whitehelm, Winterguard, who, after Thorgil followed the apparent leader, Vuve, Stormstalker, out into their tents, that they were all members of the organization the Eternal Sun, and apparently a sect down in Hostrus has been doing foul acts under their name, and they were going to basically perform an in-house inquisition of those persons and wipe their filth from the face of the earth. So, with all that being said, Winter Guard is at your disposal. There's a number of cool things that you can do here, and you know that there's a large open roofed building at one end of the city that large cheering and raucous roaring has come from, as well as a very large open-housed forge in the middle of the city where many, many dwarves work at seemingly all hours of the day and night, hammering away with hammer and anvil to create all kinds of fantastic armors and weaponry. So, with all that being said, what would you all like to do?
That is an excellent question.
I should also mention that obviously you all also found out that the person behind the killings, all these undead, is none other than Balar's father, who essentially challenged Balar to come and face him in the Nightwell Keep ruins to the southeast of the Srome depths.
So what you're telling me is we're gearing up for a fight.
You certainly have that situation. You have asked for aid. The dwarf contingent said that they cannot spare it, as they are the last defense for Hodheim, south of along the South Road. And the Goliaths, when asked, said that they could not spare anyone because of their crusade.
Bunch of cheapskates.
However, to be fair though, the leader of those Goliath folk, Vuve Stormstalker, actually signed a holy writ with her power within the Eternal Sun to basically support Thorgil in his endeavors and to reward him should you all be successful.
Is that all?
I, Vuve Stormstalker, give right to destroy all undead, blah blah, advancement in the Eternal Sun. That's my notes.
So, well, you've got a personal stake in this now. So we're already at the castle, so we can't storm it. Well, there goes that idea.
Yeah, Zach, you weren't here last time, right?
Not really. Like, I showed up right as you were ending.
Storming the stronghold is like the worst fucking thing you could possibly do. All of the walls of this fortress are solid iron.
Alright. Well, I guess Thorgil and I should not be using magic here then.
In general, magic is allowed, but it is viewed with great distrust.
Let me duck so you can see this a little better. Just whoosh.
Yeah. In general, the peoples of the north, the Goliath and dwarves, place their faith full-heartedly in the gods. And the only time Arcana really comes into play is because one of the gods specifically deals in Arcana, and so that's why they kind of allow it.
So, I'm assuming that Jatella just isn't nearly as worshipped here as normally then, because if, storming the castle is such a bad idea.
Oh, that? Yeah, I totally missed that. Yeah, that pun went right over the
Yeah. Man, you try and add some creativity to it, and people just get so lost.
Yep.
Alright, gents, what do we want to do then? Sounds like we're gonna need health potions since you guys got your butts kicked last time, so,
Yeah. I could use with a refit. A few other things.
I'm gonna want some holy water or powdered silver and iron, worth at least 100 gold pieces.
A piece?
That's pretty specific.
Well, it's components for something.
Yeah, you could totally pick up.
Yeah.
Pick that up. So, as far as that goes,
Oh, that consumes.
that anything metal oriented is at cost. It's probably a little bit less. Instead of like 100, you'd probably get like 10% off because like just the sheer quantity of iron and silver in this location is so abundant. I mean, they work with it regularly.
Interesting. I believe I would like
Can we
to try.
sell the gems that we got then?
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we should probably offload that stuff.
Alright. And I'm basically going to trade my 2 gems for 2 units of that stuff.
Are the gems at cost here? That's the better question.
We'll give
They're
you
kind
one
of weighing us
second,
down.
and I will tell you. Gems are not at cost. Gems are significantly discounted in this region because of the heavy mining and trade between Gazneg and Hodheim, and then to the south.
So it'd be
Because of that, for every every 20 gold, you lose 5. So you lose about a quarter of whatever your worth is.
So, what? Hold on to them.
If you want to
Yeah,
sell them
I'll
at higher
hold mine for now.
prices, hold on to those and use real cash for now. Better locations for gems would be the High Elf City. You all would know that the High Elves pay pretty penny for jewelry. They particularly are fascinated with the more brilliant prismatic type gems, fire opals and diamonds.
so like more Middle-earth region.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously Host Truce. Host Truce is big into the gems and whatnot. But basically you have to move away from Hodheim and Gazneg to really start making money on gems in the world.
But if we wanted to
Yeah.
buy a bunch of gems, that's an entire.
You absolutely could do ratio exchanges.
Start a trade empire, buying high or buying low, selling high.
Totally can. It's a wise course of action if you want to do that. If you got extra cash, you can go about setting up trade routes and things like that in the world.
We did just get pretty filthy rich off that merchant chest.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just found an inheritance. I mean, acquired an inheritance. I mean, I'm not stating this well, am I?
No.
No, okay.
Alrighty.
Nate, what is your passive perception for Valium?
Oh God, I haven't checked that in all. I usually know that off the top of my head, but I don't today.
Bottom left-hand corner of the character sheet.
13. It's a 13, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think it's
You don't have your. Were you even logged in?
Yes, I was. Is it just showing me loading now?
It just showed somebody popping up, I think.
Oh, okay, that's weird.
Well,
Bottom left of the sheet, right? Yeah, 12.
12.
It's like I know it's around 13, but I don't think it is. Cause I don't remember.
You notice that there is a raven that seems to be flitting from rooftop to rooftop that seems to be following you guys.
Oh, goody.
And anyone to be fair, like anyone that has a 12 or better also seems to notice it, but to Valium, that there's a greater signifier to that than just, oh, it's a bird.
Alright, has anyone noticed that bird that seems to be following us?
Actually, it'd be a crow. It wouldn't be a raven. Ravens are too big.
Either way, it's lunch. Practical. Lizard. It's how I roll.
I mean,
I mean,
alright, fair enough.
okay.
Shoot it.
With what?
A blow dart.
I'm talking to Riley. Shoot
It's,
it.
it's like it's me. I can.
That'd be quite the shot if you could hit a flying bird with a blow dart.
Yeah.
See, here's where I was waiting for a Star Wars reference about shooting swamp rats.
I can't remember the line. That's the problem. Otherwise, I probably would have.
No, I was expecting more of a Princess Bride type thing.
Two birds, one stone.
One bird, one stone. There's only one bird present.
Oh no. Well, okay, yeah. If there were two birds, though. Oh wait, I don't get chain lightning for a while. That could be awkward.
Yeah. I will acknowledge the fact that I've seen this bird following us.
Okay.
Do you point it out to anyone else, or you just kind of like look at it and be like, huh?
I'm going to verbally acknowledge that I've seen
Okay.
a bird following us.
I mean,
Because he
Yeah,
asked the question.
you'll notice that there's this bird. Because I actually have your perceptions. Let's see here. 16 for Thorgil.
I'm assuming we've rested.
Thorgil, you notice by looking at the bird that it is a messenger bird. It has a small bit of paper wrapped around its ankle.
I would point that out to the others.
Okay.
I would.
So I can't stick Ramalkin on it?
You certainly could.
I'd like to roll an animal handling check to try to get the bird to come down.
Sure.
I was hoping you'd do that.
Do you actually have bird handling?
I have animal handling. I don't have the highest wisdom, but remember, I have Rocky all the time, so it made sense.
Yeah, the bird's definitely trained in the moment that it recognizes that you are trying to get it down to you. It flutters down and it lands and perches